The envelope sat on my desk like a loaded gun. I'm Tyler Bennett, and I'd been staring at that manila folder for 10 minutes, my coffee growing cold beside it. My private investigator, a former cop named Rick Paulson, had dropped it off an hour ago with nothing but a sympathetic look and a firm handshake. The weight of it told me everything I needed to know before I even cracked it open. "You'll want to sit down for this one," Rick had said. I was already sitting. Had been since 6 a.m., unable to shake the feeling that today would change everything. My wife Amanda had left early for what she called a breakfast meeting with clients. On a Saturday, the third one this month. My hands trembled as I finally opened the envelope. The first photograph showed Amanda's car parked outside the Riverside Hotel downtown. Timestamp, 9:47 p.m. Tuesday. The second photo showed her walking into the lobby, but she wasn't alone. A man's hand rested on the small of her back. Possessive. Familiar. The third photo was taken through a hotel window, curtains partially drawn. I could see her silhouette clearly, and his. They were embracing. I shuffled through the rest quickly, my stomach churning. Different dates, same hotel. Sometimes they grabbed dinner first at Giuseppe's, the Italian place where Amanda and I had our first date 12 years ago. That detail hit me like a punch to the gut. The final pages contained bank statements Rick had somehow obtained. Regular charges at the Riverside Hotel, always on Amanda's corporate card. Dinners, flowers, even a weekend trip to Napa Valley that she'd told me was a solo work retreat. The man's name was there too, on a dinner reservation. James Mitchell. I knew that name. He was a partner at her law firm, 15 years her senior, married with 2 kids in college. I sat back in my chair, the leather creaking beneath me. Our house suddenly felt enormous and empty. We'd bought this 4-bedroom colonial in Westchester County 5 years ago, right after Amanda made junior partner. Our daughter Emily's toys were still scattered across the living room floor from last night. She was 7, smart as a whip, with Amanda's green eyes and my stubborn chin. Emily. God, what was this going to do to Emily? I checked my watch. 10:15 a.m. Amanda wouldn't be home for hours if her pattern held. I pulled out my phone and called my brother Kyle. "Tyler, what's up, man? Thought you had that thing with Emily today. I need you to take Emily for the weekend." My voice sounded strange, distant. "What? Why? What happened?" "Amanda's having an affair. I just got the proof. I need time to figure this out before Emily sees me like this." Silence on the other end, then. "I'm coming over. Don't do anything stupid until I get there." Kyle arrived 40 minutes later with his wife Jessica. They took one look at my face and Jessica immediately went upstairs to pack Emily's overnight bag. Emily was thrilled at the prospect of an impromptu weekend with her favorite uncle and aunt. "We're going to the zoo tomorrow," she squealed, hugging me tight. I held her longer than usual, breathing in her strawberry shampoo. "Have fun, sweetheart. Be good." After they left, Kyle and I sat in my home office, the photographs spread across the desk between us. "How long?" Kyle asked. "Based on these, at least 4 months, maybe longer." "What are you going to do?" I'd been asking myself the same question since opening that envelope. Part of me wanted to wait for Amanda to come home and confront her immediately. Another part wanted to pack my bags and disappear. But the rational part of my brain, the part that had built a successful consulting business from nothing, knew I needed a strategy. "I need a lawyer," I said. "A good one." Kyle nodded. "Jessica's cousin is a divorce attorney in Manhattan. Supposed to be a shark. Want me to call?" "Yeah, Monday morning, first thing." "What about Amanda? You going to tell her you know?" I looked at the photos again. In one of them, Amanda was laughing, her head thrown back in genuine joy. I couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed like that with me. When had we stopped being happy? Or had I just been too blind to notice? "Not yet," I said finally. I need to understand the full picture first. Assets, custody considerations, everything. Rick's still digging. That's smart. Cold, but smart. Kyle paused. You okay, man? Was I okay? My wife of 10 years was sleeping with her colleague. She'd been lying to my face for months, maybe longer. She'd used our anniversary dinner, the one where I'd given her that diamond bracelet she'd been wanting, as cover for one of her hotel visits. I'd found the receipt in the pile. Same night, different location than she'd claimed. No, I admitted, but I will be. After Kyle left, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I logged into our joint cell phone account and pulled Amanda's text message logs. I couldn't see the content, but I could see the numbers. One number appeared constantly, dozens of times a day. I cross-referenced it with the information Rick had provided. James Mitchell. They'd exchanged 43 text messages yesterday alone. I poured myself a bourbon, neat, and sat in the growing darkness of my office. The house that had felt like home this morning now felt like a museum of lies. How many times had Amanda kissed me goodbye before meeting him? How many times had she come home from his bed and climbed into mine? My phone buzzed. A text from Amanda. Meeting running late, home by 6. Love you. Love you. 2 words that now meant nothing. I typed back, no problem, take your time. The text came through at 9:47 p.m. Meeting running late, don't wait up. I stared at the message for a full minute before setting the phone down on the coffee table. The house felt too quiet without Emily's laughter echoing from upstairs, without her footsteps thundering down the hallway. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic on Maple Street. I'd sent her with Kyle and Jessica 3 hours ago. Told Amanda it was a spontaneous sleepover, that Emily had been begging to spend time with her cousins. Amanda had barely looked up from her laptop when I mentioned it. That's fine, she'd said, typing away. I've got this brief to finish anyway. The brief. Right? The same brief that apparently required her to meet James Mitchell at the Riverside Hotel for the 3rd time this week. I pulled Rick's envelope closer. The photographs were still spread across the dining room table like evidence at a crime scene. Amanda's hand on James's lower back as they entered the hotel. James's fingers intertwined with hers as they walked through the parking garage. The two of them sharing a bottle of wine at Marcello's, our restaurant, the place where I'd nervously asked her about her favorite books on our first date 10 years ago. The bank statements told their own story. 4 months of charges at the Riverside. Dinners at restaurants I'd never heard of. A weekend in Napa Valley that she'd called a women's retreat with colleagues from the firm. I'd believed her. Every single time. My phone buzzed again. Kyle's name appeared on the screen. Emily's already asleep. Went down easy after 2 stories and half a bag of gummy bears. Don't worry about her. I typed back a quick thanks and set the phone aside. At least she was safe. At least she didn't have to see whatever came next. The scotch bottle sat on the kitchen counter where I'd left it an hour ago. I'd poured myself 2 fingers, then dumped it down the sink. I needed to think clearly, needed to plan. Rick had been thorough. The report ran to 37 pages, each one documenting a new betrayal. Timestamps, locations, witnesses who'd seen them together at the hotel bar, at restaurants across town, at a coffee shop on 3rd Avenue where they met for what the report called brief encounters during lunch hours. 43 text messages in a single day. I'd counted them myself on the phone records Rick had obtained. Most were short. Miss you. Can't wait. Thinking about you. But some were longer. Plans for their next meeting. Complaints about their respective spouses. I was distant, apparently. Always working. James's wife was cold and more interested in her garden club than their marriage. The irony would have been funny if it didn't make me want to put my fist through the wall. I gathered the photographs into a neat stack and slid them back into the envelope. The bank statements went into a separate folder. I'd need copies of everything for the attorney. Rick had already said he'd testify if it came to that, though he doubted it would. Cases like this usually settled quietly. Nobody wants their dirty laundry aired in court, he'd said when he dropped off the report this afternoon. Especially not lawyers. They know how ugly it can get. The clock on the microwave read 10:15 p.m. Amanda's meeting would probably run late until 11 or midnight. Then she'd come home smelling like hotel soap and expensive wine, slip into bed beside me, and fall asleep within minutes. I'd done the math. 4 months of documented evidence meant at least 60 nights where she'd lied to my face. 60 mornings where she'd kissed me goodbye and told me to have a good day. 60 evenings where she'd asked about my work, about Emily's school, about what we should do for the weekend. All of it performance. All of it theater. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Tyler Bennett? A woman's voice, professional but cautious. Speaking. This is Laura Wright. I'm an attorney specializing in family law. Rick Paulson suggested I give you a call. I sat up straighter. He did. He mentioned you might need representation soon. I wanted to reach out tonight because my schedule fills up quickly, and Rick said this was time-sensitive. She paused. I've reviewed the preliminary materials he sent over. If you're interested, I have an opening Monday morning at 8. That works. The words came out automatically. Good. Bring everything you have. Financial records, the PI's report, any documentation of marital assets. We'll need to move quickly if you want to maintain the advantage. The advantage. As if this were a business negotiation instead of the dissolution of 10 years of my life. I'll be there, I said. She gave me the address, an office building downtown, 3 blocks from Amanda's firm, and hung up. I added the appointment to my phone calendar, then deleted it. Amanda sometimes glanced at my phone when she thought I wasn't looking. No need to tip her off. The house settled around me. Creaking floorboards, the furnace kicking on, the sound of Mrs. Patterson's dog barking next door. Normal sounds. Everything felt normal except for the envelope sitting on the table and the knowledge burning a hole through my chest. I walked upstairs to Emily's room. Her stuffed animals were arranged on her bed the way she liked them. Elephant on the left, bear in the middle, rabbit on the right. Her nightlight cast stars across the ceiling. The room smelled like her strawberry shampoo and the lavender spray Amanda used on her pillows. Amanda had been a good mother. That was the part that made this harder. She read to Emily every night, helped with homework, volunteered for field trips. She'd rearranged her entire schedule last month to make Emily's school play. Sat in the front row and cheered louder than anyone when Emily delivered her 3 lines as townsperson number 4. How did someone compartmentalize like that? How did you tuck your daughter into bed and then drive across town to sleep with your colleague? I pulled Emily's door shut and walked to the master bedroom. Our bedroom. The king-size bed we'd picked out together 5 years ago. The dresser where Amanda kept her jewelry, including the anniversary necklace I'd given her last year. The closet where her clothes hung next to mine, her suits pressed and ready for another week of lies. The photograph on her nightstand showed the 3 of us at the beach last summer. Emily was building a sandcastle while Amanda and I stood behind her, my arm around Amanda's waist, both of us smiling at the camera. We'd looked happy. I'd been happy. When had it changed? When had I become the distant husband she complained about to her lover? When had our marriage become something she needed to escape from? I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my phone. Scrolled through our text history. Most of it was logistics. Can you pick up Emily? Don't forget the dry cleaning. What do you want for dinner? The last time she'd sent me something personal was 3 weeks ago. Love you. Have a good day. 3 words. Probably typed while she was planning her next hotel visit with James. My phone buzzed. Another text from Amanda. Heading home soon. Want me to pick up anything? I typed back, no, I'm good. The lies were so easy, so automatic. Maybe that's what 10 years of marriage taught you, how to perform normalcy even when everything was burning down. I heard her car in the driveway at 11:23 p.m. The garage door opening, her heels clicking on the concrete, the door from the garage to the kitchen swinging open. She was humming something under her breath. "Tyler," she called out. "Upstairs," I said. She appeared in the doorway a minute later, still in her work clothes. Navy suit, white blouse, pearl earrings. Her lipstick was fresh. She'd reapplied it before coming home. "Hey," she said, setting her briefcase down. "Sorry I'm so late. The Mitchell case is killing me." The Mitchell case. Jesus Christ. "It's fine," I said. "Emily's at Kyle's." "I know, you texted me earlier." She kicked off her heels and started unbuttoning her blouse. "I'm exhausted. This week has been brutal." I watched her move around the room, hanging up her suit, pulling on pajamas, washing her face in the bathroom. All of it routine. All of it normal. She climbed into bed beside me and kissed my cheek. "Love you," she murmured. I didn't answer. Just turned off the light and lay there in the darkness, listening to her breathing even out as she fell asleep. Monday morning couldn't come fast enough. The alarm went off at 5:47 a.m. I'd been awake for hours. Amanda stirred beside me, reaching across to silence her phone. "Going for a run," she mumbled, already swinging her legs out of bed. I watched her pull on her gear in the dark, the same routine she'd performed 3 mornings a week for the past 2 months. Nike running tights, technical shirt, the expensive Brooks shoes she'd bought in March. "What time will you be back?" I asked. "Hour and a half, maybe 2. Got a long route planned." She was tying her laces, not looking at me. "Training's getting serious. The marathon's only 6 weeks away." 6 weeks. The River City Marathon scheduled for early June. She'd registered in February, made a big deal about finally committing to the distance. I'd been supportive, proud even. Now I wondered if there was a marathon at all. She left through the garage at 6:03. I gave her 5 minutes, then got up and dressed quickly. Jeans, hoodie, baseball cap. My own running shoes, the ones I hadn't worn since college. The Jeep was already warming up when I backed out of the driveway. No headlights yet. The neighborhood was still dark, street lamps casting yellow pools on empty sidewalks. I caught sight of her Honda, turning left on Maple, heading toward Riverside Park, the same direction she always went. I followed at a distance, keeping 2 cars between us when I could. She parked in the main lot at 6:14. I pulled into a spot 3 rows back, killed the engine, and watched. Amanda got out, did some cursory stretches against her bumper, then headed for the trail entrance. Her ponytail swung as she jogged, disappearing into the tree line. I waited 60 seconds, then followed on foot. The park was bigger than I'd expected. 3 miles of paved trails winding through oak and maple groves, with unpaved offshoots leading to picnic areas and overlooks. A handful of other runners were already out, serious types doing their morning miles. I spotted Amanda's pink shirt ahead, moving at an easy pace. Not pushing, just jogging. I kept my distance, staying in the tree shadows when possible. The trail curved past the river, then looped back toward the interior of the park. She maintained the same moderate speed, checking her watch occasionally. At the 1-mile marker, she slowed to a walk, pulled out her phone, and typed something. Then she veered off the main path onto a narrow dirt trail marked Scenic Overlook. I gave her 30 yards, then followed. The trail climbed slightly, weaving through denser woods. The sun was starting to break through the canopy now, dappling the ground with early light. Ahead, I could hear voices. I moved off the trail, stepping carefully through underbrush until I had a clear sightline to the overlook. Amanda was there. But she wasn't alone. A man in gray running gear stood with her, tall and lean with dark hair going silver at the temples. They were close. Too close. As I watched, he reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. She smiled up at him, that smile I used to think was just mine. Then they kissed. Not a peck. Not friendly. A real kiss, his hands on her waist, her fingers curling into his shirt. I raised my phone and started taking pictures. The camera shutter was silent, set to burst mode. I got 12 shots in 20 seconds. Different angles, clear faces, unmistakable intimacy. They broke apart, talking quietly. I couldn't hear the words, but their body language said everything. Comfortable, familiar. This wasn't new. The man, not James Mitchell, I noted with grim curiosity, checked his watch and said something that made Amanda laugh. They kissed again, briefer this time, then headed back down the trail together. I stayed hidden until they were gone, then checked the photos. Crystal clear. The morning light had been perfect. Back at my Jeep, I sat for a long time, staring at the images on my phone. The affair with James Mitchell was documented, verified, ready for court. But this? This was something else entirely. How many were there? I pulled up the photos Rick had sent me. The ones from the Riverside Hotel, from Giuseppe's, from the Napa trip. James Mitchell's face was clear in all of them. Distinguished, 50-something, wedding ring visible in 3 shots. The man from the park was younger, early 40s maybe. Different build, different coloring. Definitely not James. My hands were shaking. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Amanda's Honda was still in the lot. I checked the time, 7:23. She'd been running for an hour and 20 minutes. Soon she'd head back, shower, and come home with that post-workout glow, telling me about her pace and her splits and how she was really feeling ready for race day. I started the engine and drove home. The house was empty. I made coffee, strong and black, and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. Rick answered on the second ring. Tyler, early for a Sunday. I need you to identify someone. I forwarded the park photos. Man in the gray running gear. I need to know who he is. Silence on the line as he opened the images. Then, this is recent. This morning, Riverside Park, Scenic Overlook Trail. They met at 6:45. I'll run facial recognition, cross-reference with her known associates. Give me a few hours. Thanks. Tyler. Rick's voice was careful. How are you holding up? I'm fine. You're not fine. Nobody would be fine. I took a long drink of coffee. It burned going down. Just find out who he is. Rick called back at 11:17. Daniel Foster, he said without preamble. 39, works in commercial real estate. Married, 2 kids, elementary school age, lives in Westbrook, about 4 miles from you. How'd you get him so fast? He's got a public LinkedIn profile with photos. Runs a boutique firm downtown. Also, and this is interesting, he's registered for the River City Marathon. Same race as your wife. The coffee in my stomach turned to acid. They're running it together. Looks that way. I pulled the registration database. They're in the same pace group, 3:45 to 4 your finish time. I closed my eyes. The marathon was real. The training was real. But it had nothing to do with fitness and everything to do with him. There's more, Rick said. I checked her credit card statements again, going back further. She's been buying coffee at a place called Runner's Fuel. It's a cafe near the park. Multiple purchases, always weekend mornings. I can get surveillance if you want, but I'm betting we'll find them together. Do it. Tyler, listen. You've got enough for the divorce already. Mitchell alone is... I need everything, I said. Every lie, every meetup, every person. I need the complete picture. Rick was quiet for a moment. Okay, I'll keep digging. But you should talk to Laura tomorrow. Don't wait on this. I won't. After we hung up, I sat staring at Daniel Foster's LinkedIn profile. His smile was wide and confident. His bio mentioned his love of running, his commitment to work-life balance, his dedication to family. Family. I wondered if his wife knew, if she was sitting in her own kitchen right now, drinking her own coffee, oblivious to the fact that her husband was kissing someone else's wife under oak trees while the sun came up. The garage door rumbled open at 11:34. Amanda came in flushed and sweaty, exactly as I'd expected. "Great run," she said, grabbing a water bottle from the fridge. "Did 12 miles. Really pushed the pace on the last 3. "That's great," I said. My voice sounded normal, supportive. "How are you feeling about the race?" "Good, really good." She drank deeply, then smiled at me. "I think I might actually break 4 hours." "I'm sure you will?" She headed for the shower. I heard the water start, heard her humming something cheerful and off-key. I opened my laptop and started a new document. 2 columns. James Mitchell and Daniel Foster. Under each name, I began listing every piece of evidence, every timeline, every lie I could verify. The meeting with Laura Wright was tomorrow at 9. I'd have everything organized by then. Every detail, every betrayal, everything. The Sunday morning light filtered through our bedroom curtains, and Amanda was already up, stretching in her running gear. I watched her from the bed, my phone hidden under the pillow with Rick's latest text still glowing on the screen. Got more photos from yesterday. Daniel Foster's regular route confirmed. They meet Tuesdays and Thursdays too, 6:30 a.m. "Big run today," Amanda said, adjusting her sports bra in the mirror. 20 miles. I'll probably be gone 3 hours. 3 hours. Enough time to meet Daniel, enough time to stop at some hotel, enough time to build another layer of lies. "That's a lot," I said, keeping my voice neutral. "You training for Boston or something?" She laughed. That easy, comfortable laugh that used to make me smile. Now it just sounded hollow. "Maybe next year. Right now I'm just trying to beat my personal record. There's a half marathon in 2 weeks, the River Valley Run. I registered last month." I made a mental note. River Valley Run. I'd check if that was real or just another cover story. "You want coffee before you go?" I asked. "Already had some. I'll grab a protein bar." She leaned down, kissed my forehead. Her lips were cool, distant, performative. "Love you. I'll text when I'm on my way back." The door closed behind her at 6:47 a.m. I was out of bed 30 seconds later. I'd prepared for this. Running shoes I'd bought yesterday at Dick's Sporting Goods, still stiff and uncomfortable. Dark gray athletic clothes that wouldn't stand out. A baseball cap pulled low. My phone in an armband with Rick's tracking app already open, showing Amanda's location as a blue dot moving toward Riverside Park. I gave her a 10-minute head start, then drove to a different entrance of the park, one that offered a view of the main running trail from a cluster of oak trees. Rick had mapped out her usual route based on yesterday's surveillance. She'd enter from the north gate, run 2 miles south to where the trail curved near the old boathouse, then loop back. Daniel Foster would be waiting at the boathouse. The park was busy with Sunday morning runners, cyclists, families walking dogs. I blended in, stretching against a tree like I was warming up, watching the trail. Amanda appeared at 7:08 a.m., her blonde ponytail swinging, her pace steady and controlled. She looked like exactly what she claimed to be, a dedicated runner in training. She passed within 50 feet of me, and I turned away, pretending to check my phone. She continued south. I counted to 30, then followed, staying far enough back that I could barely see her through the other runners on the trail. The boathouse came into view, a weathered wooden structure that the city had abandoned years ago. Daniel Foster was already there, doing leg stretches against the railing. He wore a bright blue running shirt, expensive-looking shoes, fit, athletic, The kind of guy who probably ran actual marathons. Amanda slowed as she approached him. Even from a distance, I could see her smile change. Brighter, more genuine than anything she'd given me in months. They didn't embrace immediately. Smart. They jogged together, side by side, heading off the main trail onto a narrower path that wound through the trees toward the river. I followed, keeping to the edge of the trail, using other runners as cover. The path opened into a small clearing overlooking the water. Secluded. Private. Perfect for people who didn't want to be seen. I stopped behind a thick elm tree, pulled out my phone, and started recording. Daniel pulled her close first, his hands on her waist. She tilted her face up, and they kissed. Not the quick, cautious kiss of people afraid of getting caught, but the deep, hungry kiss of people who'd been waiting for this moment all week. My hand shook slightly. I steadied it against the tree bark, kept the camera focused. They broke apart, laughing about something I couldn't hear. Amanda's hand rested on his chest. He said something that made her throw her head back, that genuine laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in God knows how long. I recorded for 90 seconds, then stopped. I had what I needed. They stayed in the clearing for another 10 minutes, talking, touching, stealing more kisses. Then they jogged back to the main trail together, splitting up near the boathouse with one final, quick embrace. Amanda headed north, back toward her car. Daniel went south, toward the opposite exit. I waited until they were both out of sight, then walked back to my car on shaking legs. By noon, I had the video uploaded to my encrypted cloud storage, along with everything else Rick had gathered. The photos, the bank statements, the hotel records, the phone logs. A complete picture of betrayal, methodically documented. Amanda came home at 10:23 a.m., sweaty and flushed, exactly what she should look like after a long run. She showered, made herself a smoothie, told me about her route and her pace and how she thought she might actually qualify for Boston next year if she kept improving. I nodded in all the right places, asked interested questions, played the supportive husband. Inside, I was calculating. The River Valley run she'd mentioned. I looked it up while she was in the shower. It was real, scheduled for 2 weeks from now, registration still open. She'd actually signed up for it. I could see her name on the participant list. But there was something else. A different race, 3 weeks ago, that she'd never mentioned. The Lakefront Marathon. I found her results online. Amanda Bennett, age 34, finished in 4:18:32. Respectable time for an amateur. There was even a photo of her crossing the finish line, medal around her neck, huge smile on her face. The same medal I'd found in her drawer. She'd run an actual marathon and never told me. Never mentioned training for it. Never asked me to come watch. Never showed me the medal or the finisher's certificate. I pulled up the race photos, scrolling through hundreds of images. There, photo number 1, 8:47. Amanda at mile marker 18, running alongside Daniel Foster. Both of them smiling, his hand briefly touching the small of her back. Photo number 2, 1:03. Amanda and Daniel at the finish line, embracing. His wife wasn't in any of the photos. Neither was I. They'd run a marathon together. A 4-hour commitment, a shared accomplishment. Something that should have been celebrated with family and partners. Instead, they'd kept it secret, their own private achievement. I downloaded every photo that showed them together. 17 in total. Amanda spent Sunday afternoon doing laundry and meal prep for the week, moving through our house like everything was normal. She asked if I wanted to watch a movie that night, suggested we order Thai food, mentioned that Emily would be home tomorrow and maybe we should plan something fun for next weekend. I agreed to all of it. Watched her fold my shirts, chop vegetables for her work lunches, curl up on the couch beside me while some action movie played on the TV. Her phone buzzed twice during the movie. She checked it casually, smiled at something on the screen, typed a quick response. Work? I asked. Yeah, James has some questions about the Riverside case. I might need to go in for a few hours tomorrow evening. James. Not Daniel this time. She was juggling both of them, keeping her stories straight, managing multiple lies simultaneously. I wondered if they knew about each other. If James Mitchell knew that Amanda was also sleeping with Daniel Foster. If Daniel knew about James. Or maybe there were others I hadn't discovered yet. Maybe the running group was full of her conquests. Maybe every work meeting was a different man. The thought made me sick. You okay? Amanda asked, noticing something in my expression. Just tired, I said. Long weekend. She squeezed my hand. I know. I've been so busy with training and work. I feel like we haven't really connected in a while. The audacity of it. Sitting there, holding my hand, pretending to care about our connection while she planned tomorrow's lie. Maybe after the race, I said, when things calm down. Yeah. She smiled, leaned her head on my shoulder. After the race. I let her stay there, feeling the weight of her head, smelling her shampoo, memorizing this moment. The last time I'd pretend not to know. The last time I'd play the fool. Tomorrow morning I'd meet with Laura Wright. I'd show her everything. The photos, the videos, the bank statements, the race results, the hotel records. I'd start the process of dismantling this marriage, of taking back control, of making sure Amanda faced consequences for what she'd done. But tonight, I'd let her think she'd gotten away with it. Just for a few more hours. The alarm went off at 6 a.m. Monday morning. Amanda stirred beside me, her hand reaching across the bed to hit snooze. I was already awake, had been for hours. Morning, she mumbled, her voice thick with sleep. Morning. I kept my tone neutral. Easy, just another Monday. She rolled out of bed and headed for the shower. I listened to the water running, thinking about the envelope in my car. Rick's complete report, printed photos, credit card statements, everything I needed for Laura Wright at 9 o'clock. My phone buzzed. Kyle. How you holding up? Fine. Meeting with attorney at 9. Emily wants to talk to you before school. I called him back. Emily's voice came through bright and clear. Daddy, Uncle Kyle is making pancakes. That's great, sweetheart. Can I stay one more night, please? Amanda emerged from the bathroom wrapped in a towel. I turned away. Sure, honey. I'll pick you up tomorrow after school. Love you, Daddy. Love you too. I ended the call. Amanda was getting dressed, pulling on her running gear. Navy blue leggings, technical shirt, the outfit she'd worn to meet Daniel. Emily okay? She asked. She's fine. Kyle's spoiling her. Good. Amanda sat on the edge of the bed to lace her shoes. I'm doing an easy 5 miles this morning. Should be back by 7:30. I nodded. Watched her check her phone. Saw the small smile that crossed her face as she typed something. See you in a bit, she said, kissing my cheek. The door closed behind her. I waited 5 minutes, then pulled up the tracking app on my phone. The one I'd installed on her running watch 2 days ago when she'd left it charging in the kitchen. Rick had walked me through it. Simple software, completely undetectable. The blue dot started moving north, away from our usual neighborhood routes, toward Riverside Park. I got dressed, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table watching that blue dot trace a path I'd seen before in her journal. The route that led to the secluded overlook where Daniel parked his car. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Tyler Bennett? Speaking. This is Laura Wright's office. I'm calling to confirm your 9 o'clock appointment. I'll be there. Please bring all documentation you discussed with Ms. Wright. Already in my car. I hung up. The blue dot had stopped moving. Right where I expected. Right where Daniel's silver Audi would be parked under the oak trees. I pulled up the photos from Saturday. Amanda and Daniel kissing against his car, his hand on her lower back, her fingers in his hair. I'd taken them from 100 yards away with the telephoto lens Rick had loaned me. Crystal clear, time-stamped, geotagged. The blue dot stayed stationary for 18 minutes. Then it started moving again, back toward home. I deleted the tracking app, cleared my browser history, made myself look normal. Amanda came through the door at 7:42, breathing hard, face flushed. Real sweat this time. She must have actually run after meeting him. Good run? I asked. Great. The weather's perfect. She grabbed a water bottle from the fridge. What time are you heading to the office? Around 8:30. Got a meeting downtown at 9. Client meeting? Something like that. She nodded, distracted, already heading upstairs for a shower. I heard the water start again, heard her phone buzz on the kitchen counter where she'd left it. I looked at the screen. Missing you already? Thursday night? Daniel. Using the same contact name she'd saved him under. Running group, Dan. I took a photo of the message with my phone, added it to the folder I'd created. Evidence. All of it organized, dated, cross-referenced. The shower stopped. I heard Amanda moving around upstairs. My hands were steady as I poured another cup of coffee. Everything felt mechanical, distant, like I was watching myself from somewhere outside my body. She came down 20 minutes later in her work clothes. Charcoal skirt suit, white blouse, hair pulled back. The junior partner heading to her law firm where James Mitchell's office was 3 doors down from hers. I'll probably be late tonight, she said, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror. We're preparing for the Brennan deposition. Sure. You okay? You seem quiet. Just tired. Didn't sleep great. She kissed my cheek again. Same spot as before. Try to get some rest tonight. Love you. Yeah. The door closed. I watched through the window as she backed out of the driveway. Watched her car disappear around the corner. I grabbed my keys, the envelope. Drove downtown to Laura Wright's office building on 5th Street. 43 stories of glass and steel. Her firm occupied floors 38 through 40. The receptionist led me to a conference room at 8:55. Laura Wright walked in at exactly 9 o'clock, mid-50s, sharp gray suit, the kind of woman who'd built a career on being smarter than everyone else in the room. Mr. Bennett. She shook my hand, firm grip, direct eye contact. Thank you for being punctual. I slid the envelope across the table. She opened it, started reading. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her eyes moving faster as she worked through the pages, the photos, the credit card statements, the hotel records. You mentioned 2 affairs on the phone, she said after 10 minutes. I'm seeing evidence of both here, James Mitchell and Daniel Foster. Correct. How did you obtain this information? Private investigator, Rick Paulson, former Chicago PD. Everything was gathered legally. She nodded, kept reading. Stopped at the photos of Amanda and Daniel from Saturday. These are recent. 2 days ago. And she doesn't know you're aware? No. Laura set down the papers, folded her hands on the table. Walk me through your marriage, assets, income, your daughter. I did. 10 years married, house in both names, joint accounts, my consulting business, Amanda's salary at the firm, Emily, 7 years old, 2nd grade. What are you looking for in the divorce? Laura asked. Primary custody of Emily, the house, fair division of assets, and I want this done fast. Fast isn't always possible. Illinois has mandatory waiting periods. I understand the law, but I want to file immediately. I want her served. I want to move forward. Laura studied me. When are you planning to confront her? I'm not. Her eyebrows rose slightly. You're going to serve her with papers without a conversation? She's had plenty of opportunities to have a conversation. She chose this instead. Laura pulled out a legal pad. Started making notes. Tell me about her relationship with your daughter. We talked for 90 minutes. She asked questions. I answered. She took notes. Explained the process. The timeline. The likely outcomes. Illinois is a no-fault divorce state, she said. The affairs won't impact the divorce itself, but they can factor into custody decisions if we can demonstrate a pattern of deception that affects parenting. She lied to Emily, told her she was training for marathons, used it as cover to meet these men. That's helpful. We can use that. Laura flipped through the photos again. The documentation here is thorough. Your investigator did excellent work. I didn't respond. I need a retainer of $15,000 to start. We'll file this week. Have her served by Friday. Done. She slid a contract across the table. I read it. Signed it. Wrote the check. One more thing, Laura said as I stood to leave. Once we file, this becomes real. There's no going back. Are you certain? I thought about Amanda kissing Daniel under the oak trees. About James Mitchell's hand on her waist in those hotel photos. About the 43 text messages in a single day. About Emily asking why Mommy was always running. I'm certain. Then we'll proceed. I'll have the papers drafted by Wednesday. You'll be served Friday morning, probably at work. Good. I left her office at 10:47, drove to my own office downtown, sat at my desk staring at my computer screen without seeing it. My phone buzzed. Amanda. How was your meeting? Me. Productive. Amanda. Good. Dinner tonight? I should be home by 7. Me. Sure. I set down the phone, opened my laptop, started working through emails, client proposals, budget reviews, normal Monday tasks. But my mind kept circling back to Friday, to Amanda's face when she got served, to the moment everything would finally break open. The clock on my office wall read 2:47 p.m. when my phone buzzed. Laura Wright's name appeared on the screen. Tyler, we have a problem. I set down my pen. What kind of problem? Amanda's firm just announced she's being promoted to senior partner. It hits the press tomorrow morning. If we serve her Friday as planned, the optics get complicated. Looks like you're trying to sabotage her career advancement. I leaned back in my chair. The leather creaked. So we move faster. That's what I'm thinking. Can you get Emily settled somewhere safe tonight? She's already at Kyle's. Has been since Monday. Good. Then we serve tomorrow, Thursday morning, 9 a.m. at her office. Catches her before the promotion announcement goes public. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Tomorrow. 20 hours from now. Do it, I said. I'll have the process server there at 9 sharp. You should be somewhere public when it happens. Somewhere with witnesses and cameras if possible. Why? Because when someone's world implodes, they make calls, send texts. Sometimes they show up places. You want a clear alibi for your whereabouts and state of mind. I thought about that. There's a running group that meets Thursday mornings at Riverside Park. 7 a.m. Laura was quiet for a moment. The same park where she meets Daniel Foster? The same one. Different location. They meet at the north entrance. Amanda and Daniel use the south trails. That's bold. That's strategic. I join the group, run with them, establish myself as someone trying to get healthier. Maybe mention my wife got me interested in running. Witnesses see me in good spirits, focused on fitness. Then 2 hours later, she gets served. I like it. But Tyler, don't do anything stupid. Don't confront anyone. Don't ask questions about her. Just run. Understood. After we hung up, I sat there staring at my computer screen. The tracking software showed Amanda's running watch was currently stationary at her office. She'd logged a lunch hour run, 3.2 miles, moderate pace, probably solo. Daniel Foster worked across town. Their Thursday meetups typically happened in the evening. I pulled up the calendar I'd been maintaining. Color-coded entries tracking Amanda's movements against her stated schedule. Red for confirmed lies. Yellow for suspicious gaps. Green for verified truth. There wasn't much green. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Kyle. M's asking when you're coming to visit. Tell her tomorrow afternoon, after I handle some work stuff. She misses you, man. Keeps asking if mommy's coming too. I closed my eyes. What are you telling her? That mommy's busy with work, that you'll both visit soon. Kyle paused. She's 7, Tyler. She knows something's wrong. I know. When are you going to tell her? After Amanda knows. After the papers are served. I'm not having Emily find out before her mother does. Fair enough. But soon, yeah? Kids aren't stupid. The longer you wait, the worse it gets. After Kyle hung up, I opened my desk drawer and pulled out the manila envelope Rick Paulson had given me. The photos of Amanda and James Mitchell. I hadn't looked at them in days. Hadn't needed to. The images were burned into my memory. But now I added new photos to the collection. The ones I'd taken at Riverside Park. Amanda and Daniel under the oak trees. The lakefront marathon pictures I'd downloaded. 17 shots of them running together, smiling, crossing the finish line with their arms around each other. I arranged them chronologically, created a timeline. The earliest photo of Amanda and James was from 4 months ago, late June. The first evidence of Daniel Foster was from 8 weeks ago, mid-August. But the lakefront marathon was 3 weeks ago, which meant by the time Amanda ran 26.2 miles with Daniel, she'd already been sleeping with James Mitchell for 3 months. The question that kept nagging me: did they know about each other? I pulled out my phone and texted Rick Paulson. Need you to look into something. Daniel Foster, commercial real estate agent, married. I want to know if his wife knows about Amanda. His response came 2 minutes later. Already on it. We'll have something by tomorrow. I spent the rest of the afternoon working. Actual work. Client proposals, budget reviews, staff meetings. The mundane mechanics of running a consulting business. It felt surreal, going through the motions while my marriage disintegrated in slow motion. At 6:15 p.m. I drove home. Amanda's car was already in the driveway. I found her in the kitchen, still in her work clothes, heating up leftover pasta. Hey, she said, smiling. How was your day? Busy. You? Same. Partner meeting ran long. She stirred the pasta. Emily called me. Said she's having fun at Kyle's but misses us. I talked to Kyle earlier, thinking I'll drive over tomorrow afternoon. Amanda's smile faltered slightly. Tomorrow? I was hoping we could both go this weekend. Make it a family thing. I opened the refrigerator, grabbed a beer. I've got that client presentation Friday. Might run late. Right, the Riverside account. She turned back to the stove. Well, maybe I'll go with you tomorrow then. Take a half day. My hand tightened on the beer bottle. Thought you had that deposition prep. I can move it. She glanced at me. Unless you'd rather go alone? This was the dance we'd been doing for days. Her trying to maintain normalcy. Me deflecting without revealing anything. It was exhausting. Your call, I said. But the deposition seems important. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. You're right. I'll go Saturday instead. She scooped pasta onto 2 plates. So what do you want to do tonight? We could watch something. Open a bottle of wine. I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd married 10 years ago. The mother of my daughter. The person who'd been systematically lying to me for months while sleeping with at least 2 other men. Actually, I need to prep for tomorrow's run. Amanda blinked. Run? Yeah. I joined that running group you mentioned. Riverside Runners. They meet Thursday mornings. Her face went carefully neutral. You joined a running group. You've been talking about marathon training for weeks. Figured I should try to keep up. I took a sip of beer. Maybe we could run together sometime. You could show me those trails you like. Something flickered in her eyes. Fear? Calculation? It was gone too quickly to identify. That would be great, she said. The group meets at the north entrance, right? Yeah. 7 a.m. You know it? I've run past there a few times. She handed me a plate. How'd you hear about them? Online. Saw their training for the Riverside Half Marathon in November. Thought it might be a good goal. Amanda nodded slowly. Just be careful. Don't push too hard your first time out. We ate dinner making small talk about work, about Emily, about nothing that mattered. Amanda mentioned she had a run scheduled for tomorrow evening, her usual Thursday routine. I didn't ask where or with whom. At 9:30 p.m., she went upstairs to shower. I stayed in my office, ostensibly reviewing client files. Really, I was checking the tracking software. Her running watch showed tomorrow's route already planned. 5.2 miles, starting at Riverside Park's south entrance. The same trails where I'd photographed her with Daniel Foster. My phone buzzed. Rick Paulson. Daniel Foster's wife filed for separation 2 weeks ago. She knows. I read the message twice. 2 weeks ago, right after the Lakefront Marathon. I typed back, does she know about Amanda specifically? Working on confirming, but the timeline suggests she found out about someone. I set down my phone and stared at the wall. Daniel Foster's marriage was already imploding, which meant either he'd confessed or his wife had discovered evidence. Either way, Amanda's second affair was potentially compromised. Did she know? Was that why she'd been extra attentive lately? The family weekend suggestions, the dinner dates, the concerned questions about my stress levels? I heard the shower turn off upstairs, heard Amanda moving around the bedroom. Getting ready for bed like this was just another normal night. I pulled up my email and sent a message to my assistant. I'll be out of the office until noon tomorrow. Morning run with a client group. Keep my calendar clear. Then I set my alarm for 5:30 a.m. and went upstairs. Amanda was already in bed, reading on her tablet. She looked up when I entered. Coming to bed? Yeah, early morning tomorrow. She set down the tablet. Tyler, I paused. Yeah? Is everything okay? You've seemed distant lately. I met her eyes. Saw genuine concern there, or a convincing performance of it. Just work stress, I said. The Riverside account is complicated. She nodded, seeming to accept this. Well, try to get some sleep. You'll need energy for your first group run. I climbed into bed beside her. She reached over and squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you, she said, for trying something new. I didn't respond. Just lay there in the darkness, listening to her breathing slow as she fell asleep. Tomorrow morning, I'd run with strangers at Riverside Park. 2 hours later, Amanda would be served divorce papers at her office. By tomorrow night, everything would be different. I stared at the ceiling and waited for dawn. The alarm went off at 5:30 a.m. I silenced it before Amanda stirred. She rolled over, still half asleep. Good luck today, she mumbled. I dressed in the dark, running clothes I'd bought specifically for this morning. Left the house at 6:15, drove to Riverside Park's north entrance. The parking lot was already filling up with runners, a mix of ages and fitness levels gathering near a banner that read, Riverside Runners, every runner welcome. A woman in her 50s with a clipboard approached me. First time? Yeah, Tyler Bennett. She checked her list. Great, we've got you down. I'm Patricia, one of the group leaders. We'll do an easy 5 miles this morning, pace around 9:30 per mile. Sound good? Perfect. I ran with them, kept conversation light. Mentioned my wife had gotten me interested in fitness. Several people nodded knowingly. Apparently, spousal inspiration was common. We looped through the northern trails, nowhere near where Amanda met Daniel, and finished back at the parking lot at 8:23 a.m. I thanked Patricia, got in my car, and drove to a coffee shop 3 blocks from Amanda's law firm. Ordered breakfast. Sat by the window where security cameras would capture my presence. At exactly 9 more a.m., my phone buzzed. Laura Wright. It's done. She was served in the conference room. 3 witnesses present. I set down my coffee cup. My hands were steady. How did she react? Shocked, then angry. She's calling you now. Don't answer. Let her sit with it. My phone started ringing. Amanda's name on the screen. I declined the call. It rang again. Declined. A text came through. What the hell is this? Then another. Call me right now. Then. Tyler, this isn't funny. Call me. I silenced my phone and finished my breakfast. I didn't go home. Drove straight to Kyle's house instead. Emily ran to the door when I knocked, throwing her arms around my waist. Daddy, you came? I did, sweetheart. I picked her up, held her tight. Kyle appeared behind her, his expression grim. Amanda's been calling me. Says you won't answer your phone. I know. She's losing it, man. Wants to know where you are. Tell her I'm with Emily. That's all she needs to know. I spent the day with my daughter. We went to the park, got ice cream, played board games at Kyle's kitchen table. Emily chattered about school and her friends and the book she was reading. Normal 7-year-old stuff. I soaked in every word. My phone buzzed constantly. Amanda. James Mitchell's number. Probably her using his phone. Unknown numbers. I ignored them all. At 4:00 p.m., Kyle pulled me aside while Emily was watching cartoons. You need to talk to her eventually. I will, when I'm ready. And Emily, when are you telling her? I looked through the doorway at my daughter, sprawled on the couch with Kyle's dog. Happy. Innocent. Unaware that her world was about to change. This weekend, I'll sit her down, explain it in terms she can understand. You want Jessica and me there? Yeah, that would help. Kyle squeezed my shoulder. Whatever you need, brother. I finally answered Amanda's call at 7 p.m. I was still at Kyle's, Emily asleep in the guest room. Where the hell have you been? Her voice was raw. She'd been crying. With Emily. Tyler, what is this? Divorce papers? Affairs? What are you talking about? I walked outside, stood in Kyle's driveway under the streetlights. You know exactly what I'm talking about. This is insane. James Mitchell? I work with him, that's all. And who the heck is Daniel Foster? The lies came so easily to her. Even now. I have photos, Amanda, videos, bank statements, hotel records. I have everything. Silence on the line, then, quietly. How long have you known? Long enough? Tyler, please, can we just talk about this, face to face? There's nothing to talk about. You made your choices. What about Emily? Her voice cracked. You can't just take her away from me. I'm not taking her away. You'll have visitation, but I'm filing for primary custody. On what grounds? On the grounds that you've been lying to her for months. Using marathon training as cover to meet your lovers. She deserves better than that. Amanda was crying now. Please. Tyler, please. I made mistakes. I know I did. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end things with, I'll fix it. It's too late. It's not. It's not too late. I love you. I love Emily. This family ended the first time you checked into that hotel with James Mitchell. I kept my voice level. Cold. The papers are filed. My attorney will be in touch about custody arrangements. Tyler, I hung up. The next 3 months were a blur of legal proceedings, custody evaluations, and careful conversations with Emily. Kyle and Jessica helped me tell her that mommy and daddy were going to live in different houses, that it wasn't her fault, that we both loved her very much. She cried, asked questions I didn't have good answers for. But kids are resilient. She adjusted. Amanda fought the custody arrangement initially, but Laura Wright was thorough. The evidence was overwhelming, not just of the affairs, but of the systematic deception, the lies told to Emily, the pattern of putting her desires above her daughter's stability. In the end, Amanda agreed to joint custody with me as primary guardian. She got Emily every other weekend and Wednesday evenings. The house went to me. Assets were divided evenly. The divorce was finalized on a cold Tuesday in February. I sat in the courtroom and watched the judge sign the papers. Amanda was there with her attorney, her face pale and drawn. She'd lost weight, dark circles under her eyes. She looked like someone who'd been hollowed out. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication. Just a distant kind of sadness for the life we'd had and lost. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Daniel Foster at a coffee shop downtown. He was alone, no wedding ring, looking tired. He recognized me. Tyler Bennett. Daniel. We stood there awkwardly. Then he said, "For what it's worth, I'm sorry, about everything." "Your wife left you too?" "Yeah. Took the kids to her parents' place in Ohio." He stared into his coffee. I lost everything for someone who was never really mine to begin with. I thought about that. She wasn't mine either. I just didn't know it yet. He nodded slowly. "Does it get easier?" "Yeah," I said. "It does." I left him there and drove to Kyle's house to pick up Emily. She came running out with a drawing she'd made at school. Our family, she said. Me, her, Uncle Kyle, Aunt Jessica, and the dog. Amanda wasn't in the picture. "Do you like it, Daddy?" I studied the crayon figures, the bright colors, the crooked smile she'd drawn on my face. "I love it, sweetheart." A year after the divorce, I was doing okay. Better than okay, actually. I'd sold the house, too many memories, and bought a smaller place closer to Emily's school. Started running regularly, not to spy on anyone, just for myself. Even ran that half marathon I'd mentioned to Amanda. Finished in under 2 hours. Emily thrived. She had her routines, her stability, her people who showed up when they said they would. Amanda saw her regularly, was trying to rebuild their relationship. I didn't make it harder than it needed to be. I learned things about myself in that year. That I was stronger than I thought. That I could survive betrayal and come out the other side. That love without trust isn't love at all. It's just shared space and familiar routines. I learned that some people are capable of profound compartmentalization, that they can kiss their children goodnight and their lovers good morning and somehow live with the contradiction. I'd never understand it, but I didn't need to anymore. Mostly I learned that the life you think you have and the life you actually have can be two completely different things. And when you finally see the truth, you have a choice. Live in denial or build something new. I chose to build. 2 years after the divorce, Emily asked me if I was ever going to get married again. We were at the park, watching her soccer practice. She was 9 now, all knees and elbows and fierce determination. "Maybe someday," I said, "if I meet the right person." What makes someone the right person? I thought about Amanda, about the lies and the hotels and the secret marathons, about trust broken so thoroughly it could never be repaired. "Someone who's honest," I said. "Someone who shows up. Someone whose words match their actions." Emily nodded seriously. "Like you, Daddy." "I try, sweetheart." She went back to her practice, and I sat there in the autumn sunshine, watching her run and laugh with her teammates. My daughter, happy, healthy, safe. The affair that broke everything had also, in its way, saved me. Saved both of us. Because we'd built a new life on truth instead of lies, on presence instead of absence, on love that showed up consistently instead of love that was just a word people said. I'd learned the hard way that you can't control what other people do. You can't make them faithful or honest or present. You can only control yourself, your choices, your standards, your willingness to see the truth even when it destroys you. And sometimes destruction is necessary. Sometimes you have to let everything burn down so you can build something better from the ashes. I watched Emily score a goal, her face bright with joy, and I knew we'd be okay. Both of us. We already were. The affair broke everything, but what we built afterward was ours, real and solid and true. And that was enough.